My first satsang was at the Brickfield Science Center. My father-in-law had passed away, and some people came over and saw my son, and they saw, he was into music and stuff like that, and they had asked us they heard about this class in Brickfield Science Center that teaches music. And I took him there one Friday evening, and that was the beginning of our journey into satsang. We were invited by Nali, and from there I started going, and then, well, of course, Sunil will give his part on that, but that was the initial first step. It came from a music class, actually.
My experience getting to know Swami would have been a couple of years just before joining in the Brickfield Science Center. My elder brother and sister, they were already, attending the Sai sessions, satsangs. In those days, it was led by Mrs. Okasi Paul. And I would have been given the invitation to attend to these sessions. And so I had some previous information about Swami. But what really drew me to the organization is when my brother-in-law actually got ill with some level of heart disease and clogged arteries. And fortunately, the organization, he was already in the Sai environment and in the organization. And due to, the thanks of Dr. Shyam Ramnarayan and other coordinators who coordinated to, have my brother-in-law go to Swami in the Prashanti Nilayam, in the super specialty hospital, to have this surgery done. And as most of you are aware, right, there was no physical surgery. It was all a miracle by Swami himself, giving us divine grace. And to me, that was so amazing to hear this story, especially when it's within our own family. Of course, after that, things happened. And then, as Jenny mentioned, after my father had died, we were eventually led and gravitated towards the Brickfield Science Center, where we became members of the center and, the organization at large. Well, for sure, one of the first experience I had, being a member of the Brickfield Science Center and then onto the Montrose Science Center, I would have had a lot of dreams with Swami, personal dreams. I used to dream him very often. And in these dreams, he was appearing to me as a school teacher sitting in front of the class. And of course, he was sitting in the front of the class, and I dreamt as I was one of the students sitting there. And he looked at me in the dream, and he's holding up these, what seemed to be like test papers. And it was a test actually that I had to do. And he had called me up in the class and told me personally that I had passed the exams. And in this dream, it was so overwhelming It was so real. It was so, how to say, it was so inspiring that trying to interpret this dream, I assumed it to be, in my own way and understanding, to go back, to go back to school, become educated and what have you. And actually that is what I did. And I spent a couple of years while still in satsang, attending the different classes. And eventually I moved up in the organization that I work for, international organization. And I eventually moved up to the ranks of manager. All right. And I continue having the dreams and about sharing the message of Sai wherever I am. And I actually do these messages through training, because in the profession that I am in, we try to assist people with changing their behaviors, right? And in doing so, I would have used the messages from Swami to actually do that, right? And the second experience, and the most, most inspiring one, was when I had when I visited the ashram in Prashanti Nilayam in 2008. It was a Guru Purnima, so it was somewhere, I think it was the first 2 weeks in July. So together with the Mantra Sai Center, we had visited the ashram, and I believe it was the education, meeting for all the education coordinators.
It was the International Education Conference. So
that's right. That's correct. And so we were there, and I remember, with all the, all the settings and how to line up to go to the hall, in order to get the darshan. And I was very fortunate, after a series of days, going to the ashram and being there on time, I was very fortunate to end up in the front row and having to see Swami directly in front of me, and I recall some of the brothers from Trinidad and the West Indies had given me some envelopes. So just in case Swami came, we would offer these letters and so on. And to tell you the truth, it was such a shocking experience that I started to almost tremble. Looking at Swami and seeing this divinity, it's like you can't believe it, and yet it's so amazing at the same time. And I could safely say that there was an exchange of energy that was downloaded, if I prefer to use that word, between this divinity and who I am. Experiencing that, especially when I saw his eye contact, making contact with my eyes, I felt like I was home. I was, everything else didn't matter. Just being present in that moment was so awesome. All right, and to me, those were the two experiences that touched my life. Even to this day, I explain this to my fellow workers and so on who ask about the experience and about Swami, and then bringing the message in whichever way that we can to different persons.
Okay, and for me, I must say, now I can look back and I can see through my most memorable experience that Swami was trying to reassure me in certain way if I had doubts, because now I can see it as to these experiences. Swami was trying to show me to let go of the doubts that I had. So my first experience was one that was, it was really, at that point in time, I would say it was a really horrible experience that was happening to me. And now I can speak about it because I think I've worked with myself with healing that part of me. There was this one day that I was robbed. I was being robbed, and almost killed. And I remember when this guy was choking me and, holding my nose shut, and I couldn't breathe. And at that point in time, the only thing I could have remembered was Swami. And I said, Swami, only you can save me here now. And when I said that, I don't know. I mean, of course, I know the strength came from Swami, and I was able to fight this guy off. And I'm here today because I definitely felt that, he was going to kill me. And like I said, the only thing I could have remembered at that point in time was Swami. And those were the words I said. I said, Swami, you're the only person that can save me now. And I got that strength, and I was able to, fight off this person. My second memorable most memorable, I must say, it was in India when we went up in 2008. And we were sitting in the darshan hall. And again, I have to say, if ever there were any doubts, Swami kept these two instances. He proved to me that to let go of the doubts. And we were sitting in the darshan hall. We went to darshan a bit late, so we was at the back of the line. Me and Laura Siu, I think everybody knows her. And we were sitting at the back, but when Swami came out, we couldn't see because everybody was standing, in the hall, and we couldn't see anything. And I sat there, Laura sitting next to me, and I closed my eyes and I said, Swami, we have come from so far to see you, and look how these people is behaving, and we can't see you. And when I said that little prayer, I opened my eyes. And I always tell people it was like the parting of the Red Sea, because everything part, and Swami was looking at me directly. Laura was she was next to me, and she was like in disbelief, and she was taking her elbow and nudging me, Jenny. And I told her, I say, just be still. I will tell you about this after, when we go back to the hotel. And for me, again, Swami was telling me, let go of the doubts. Those two instances has been everything to me. I think it's my most memorable instances that I would have had where Swami really moved me away from doubts. God, there's no doubt with regards to that. Swami has taught us over the years so many lessons, and he taught us about God and all of us being gods. And I see him as God. I see him as my true guru, my true person who have built this base, my base as to where I am now. So definitely there's no doubt in my mind or any part of me that he is God.
All right, so Sairam again. So to me, I would say Swami is everything. He's guru, he's God, he's best friend, he's guide. He's everything, anything that you could, call upon. So it's ingrained in both Jenny and I that the first name, if there's anything, whether it's good or bad, the first name of praise, I will always say gently is Om Sri Sairam. Because that is who Swami has been to us, like a teacher, a guide, God, in everything. So, before, I always had a lot of judgments about myself and the things that I would have, my young or youthful experiences. So coming to the organization, I felt a little bit guilty, especially knowing who this God man is as we first get to hear about who Swami is. So it took me a little while to, to really to see it like, I felt a little bit, I don't want to use the word like sinner, but, carrying this burden then. And then just by hearing, some of the discourses, what you would hear about Swami, or the little quotes that he would say, like, help ever, hurt never, love all, serve all, these were the things that started to draw me more and more to who this holy man, as I view him at that time, really is. And it took a couple of years, right? I remember when I had joined the organization, Swami would have discussed the 5 pillars. And I spent a lot of time trying to understand all of these and seeing these as things like difficult to actually attain, because of my previous life or earlier life that I lived. But thank God for the friends that I had in the organization who would have encouraged me, Dr. Sham, Neela Kisoon, even you as well, Dr. Tiwari. You guys were a lot of like inspiration to us who are now joining the organization. And through the messages and discourses, and then reading the articles, I eventually, it took a little while for me to start releasing some of these burdens that I was carrying, and especially when we did meditation and so on in the satsangs, because the format would have had the light meditation, right? And this would have helped me, to sort of understand who Swami really is, and that to me is one of the things that have transformed myself to get to know Swami, to know that he's not separate and apart from who I am. And to be quite honest, today, 20-something years after, I am now beginning to understand some of the teachings Swami was giving us in those days, I thought at that time that we did understand it, and probably I did understand it, but intellectually. But experientially, today I am beginning to have some of these experiences that he was talking about. And to me, this is what is the miracle that is happening in my life today. Being able, to understand and appreciate who Swami is and his message and his work and what he did, and more so how he influenced my life as an individual.
Thank you, Sunil. So Jenny, I know as a wife, before you talk about yourself, did you see a change in Sunil, pre-Swami and post-Swami? And what change did you see?
Yes, drastic, big change, nothing small as to, who he was before and when he started coming into satsang. For me, I went all in immediately. And for him, it was a transition because of his religious background. There was a lot of resistance there with him coming into the fold, it used to be a little struggle to get him to come to satsang and things like that. But then once he come in, I started seeing these amazing changes. And even up to this point, he still continues to grow so much. And for people who knows us, they know that his base, they definitely know. I may not speak up too much, but they know that his base is always from Swami, because he always refer to Swami every single Thursday when we have we have a meditation set forum here on a Thursday where we do meditation with some friends. And every single Thursday, he will always mention Swami's teachings. So I see from where he was to now, big change, big change. Like I say, like for me, I went all in from day one. When I took Kevin to that music class and I was invited to satsang, I went all in. And the energy that I felt really drew me. You know, when you go on satsang on a Thursday, the energy was so strong, it was so powerful, the lessons were so powerful. And I immediately went into transition with regards to where I was and stepping into that forum. Over the years, I have seen, you know, in my life, now so much lessons, like Sunil was saying, like now, like if we have a conversation, we would be like so excited because, you know, when we think now, we say, but wait, you know, Swami has been teaching us this all along, you know, but now we're in a different place, different mindset. So we're able to really grasp what it is that he was, you know, trying to teach us like so many years ago. And for me, like one of the greatest lesson, I think, you know, of course, it's always unconditional love, but detachment. I remember I remember this clearly, Dr. Tiwari, when Swami spoke about detachment, we went to satsang. And when somebody gave the discourse and they talk about detachment, and there was like a lot of resistance because I was like, detachment, how can I detach from my family and, you know, things like that. But he meant it in such a deeper way that now I can truly see, you know, detaching from his form, because he will always be with us. That energy will always be with us. And detaching from life itself and learning the experiences and having the experiences at a really deeper level. And for me, those are the things like that is like so strong and so powerful that I keep. And I'm really happy that I'm able to grasp that lesson that he was trying to teach us, even though it took many years. But now I feel like I can really harness it. I feel I've been really harnessing it, you know, and moving into this energy that he was really opening up us to all along.
So I believe, you know, it's important for us, you know, as Swami always said, in, you know, one of my favorite kirtans that he sang was the song Love is my rest, truth is my breath, bliss is my food, my life is my message, expansion is my life. And to me, in this stage of my life, this is one song I keep singing, that our life must become the message. Just as Swami life became the message for all of us, so too we must make our lives becoming the message, you know. And how do we do that, right? Is we need to demonstrate, right? And demonstration is something that is very powerful. You know, we could go around saying all the nice things about Swami and saying it. We could teach it, we could coach people on it, but demonstrating it by example, as Swami would always say to us, right, is one way of doing it. And what I realize, through my experience, is you don't even have to use the word Swami. You can say the message without even using the word Swami, but inside of us, we know where the truth of the message is coming from. And yes, I believe that his message can transform through demonstration, through singing and lifting our own vibration. And as we understand, this world is all energy, and energy is vibration. And as you all know, and I was mentioned earlier, both Jenny and I, we are Reiki practitioners, so we work with energy. And from the scientific background, energy is not bounded by space nor time. And I understood this more now when we were doing things like Bachan, and would sing and chant, and we all would feel the vibration. And with that vibration, energy. And when we sang and we clap and we have everybody, together, we push that energy out. And this activity, as you all are aware, was happening globally. And this to me would help surely in creating that change that, as Mahatma Gandhi says, to create the change or be the change that you wish to see. And I'm certain that the change would happen, right? Once we keep doing the things that we love and doing it with passion, not just doing it for doing its sake, but doing it with this passion, with this love for Swami, and seeing the change and transformation in our own lives. And one thing we can do, we usually say that we cannot really change people, which may be true up to me to a certain point, but we can influence change by first becoming the change. So I really believe, Dr. Tiwari, that we all together, can create this change.
For me, what Swami's greatest message was love, and just not love, because we say love, but it's unconditional love. Loving each other unconditionally, no matter what is happening to this individual. And this is something that I spoke to one of my friends with about, is that when we love unconditionally, we see through the Maya and the illusion. And it's not only about, okay, that we love our family a certain way, and then we love the neighbor a different way, things like that. Swami's message is unconditional love. And unconditional love, for me, is his greatest message, because if we can use this and spread this unconditional love out into the world, it's going to create that change and big changes. And like Sunil mentioned, this is my motto. My life is my message. I always tell everyone that I remember Swami words so clearly, when we came into the fold, that my life is my message. And for me, I tell everybody, what you see is what you get, because I try to live this message every single day. And our life must be a representation of Swami and Swami teachings. And that in itself can create the subtle change, because this is what people looking for, people looking for honesty. They're looking for, for people to be genuine. And all of that comes from unconditional love. And to me, that is the way to go. And like Sunil was saying, with regards to vibration, when we as a body can function from this unconditional love, we can create this change so easily and so subtly without having to force anything on anybody. Mm-hmm. Pops to Dr. Ramnarayan, Doc, and to Sue. They have been an integral part of our growth in the Sai fold. And I wanted to just dedicate this to them. Guru, Sadguru, Sadguru Sai Ram. Sadguru Sai Sadguru Sai Ram.
Sadguru Sai Ram.
Guru Sai Ram, Sri 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 Sai Ram.
Guru Sadguru, Sadguru Sai Ram.
Sadguru Sai Ram.
Sai Guru Sai Mahesham. Sai Guru
Sai Guru Sai Mahesham.
Sai Guru Sai Mahesham.
Sai Guru Sai Mahesham.
Sai Mahesha, Satya Sai Mahesha.
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 Sai Ma Pahi Mahesha.
Sai Ma Pahi Mahesha.
Sai Ma Pahi Mahesha.
Sai Mahesha.
Partipuri Sai Deva Sai Mahesha.
Partipuri Sai Deva Sai Mahesha.
Sai Mahesha, Satya 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 Sai Mahesha.
Guru Sadguru, Sadguru Sai Ram.
Sadguru Sai Ram.
Guru Sai Ram, Sri 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 Sai Ram.
Guru Sadguru, Sadguru Sai Ram.
Sadguru Sai Ram.
Sai Guru Sai Mahesha.
Sai Guru Sai Mahesha.
Sai Mahesha, Satya Sai Mahesha.
Sai Mahesha, Satya Sai Mahesha.
Sai Ma Pahi Mahesha.
Sai Ma Pahi Mahesha.
Partipuri Sai Deva Sai Mahesha.
Partipuri Sai Deva Sai Mahesha.
Sai Mahesha, Satya 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 Sai Mahesha.
Guru Sadguru,